نشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له الحمد لله رب العالمين الحمد لله الوالي الكريم وصلى الله على الأنبياء أجمعين والمسيح والمهدي والمجدد لنا المرسلين. Are we not the bearers of witness that nothing will exist if Allah didn't create it, and that He is alone and has no part, and that all gratitude is for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the sustainer of all the boundless universes. All gratitude is for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the generous eternal friend, and send salutations of Allah on all of His prophets and His apostles, and on the Messiah, the anointed one, and on the Mahdi, the guide, and on the Mujaddid, the reformer, which was all sent from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We send greetings and we send peace throughout the boundless universe to all. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh.
And now, The True Light, featuring As-Sayyid Al-Imam Isa Al-Hadi Al-Mahdi.
Yeah, I used to be down with the Nation of Islam, but Imam Isa, I got a few questions I want to ask you. I wrote down before I got here. One of them, like, how do you really feel about the Nation of Islam under Minister Louis Farrakhan?
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. Bismillahi ar-Rahmani ar-Rahim. Begin all things with the illustrious name of Allah, the Yielder, the most merciful. I'm glad I finally got down to someone asking me this question directly, so it's not misinterpreted and misunderstood. As far as the Nation of Islam, as the followers of our great leader, the most honorable Elijah Muhammad, I feel that it was the best thing that has ever happened to the black man in America and eventually the whole world, when me and Minister Louis Farrakhan, who are now presently in dialogue, can come together as brothers for the betterment of our people. I feel that the work that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad did, may Allah be very pleased with him, over all of these years, was for one purpose and one purpose only, and that was the upliftment of a dormant yet great nation of people, whom he referred to as the tribe of Shabazz, the lost but now found. And I refer to as Ishmaelites. When they say Shabazz and I say Ishmaelite, we're saying the same thing. Both times it's referring to the same nation, who are the gods of the planet Earth. I feel that Minister Louis Farrakhan has been betrayed many times.
What do you mean when you say Minister Louis Farrakhan is being betrayed?
For instance, I remember a tape when Minister Louis Farrakhan came back from Mecca from Hajj, and he was very happy that he encountered a young American Muslim who was a student of Arabic. And he opened his arms. Remember the size of the Nation of Islam and the position of Minister Louis Farrakhan, as opposed to some everyday, run-of-the-mill, typical American Sunni Muslim. So Minister Louis Farrakhan opened his arms to this young man while in Mecca, and the young man opened his arms to Minister Louis Farrakhan, only to get back to America and get brainwashed by Negroes who are servants of so-called pale Arabs, and then the same brother turn around and badmouth the Minister Louis Farrakhan. I think these things are dangerous, and I think that is a form of betrayal of your own people, the same way that Judas betrayed Jesus.
If you really feel this way about the brother Minister Louis Farrakhan, how come you and him never get together?
Well, actually, me and Minister Louis Farrakhan are in dialogue, and we are coming together. And we're going to come together on the things that we can agree on, and we're not even going to look for each other's faults or shortcomings. For as mortals, we both can have them. We're not going to give the so-called pale Arabs, which I call them, and which my beloved brother refers to as the scholars, the benefit of seeing two great black leaders verse each other, and thus pull out of history two more faces. Meaning, if I don't teach my children to respect the picture of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and the minister, Louis Farrakhan, doesn't teach his followers to recognize El Imam Isa al-Hadi and Imam Muhammad Ahmed al-Mahdi of the Sudan, what happens is 4 more black men disappear out of history, while the white man is continuing to stamp Abraham Lincoln, George Washington, and all the rest of his followers in our kids' minds, in textbooks, in the form of his education system. I'm saying that presently the Nation of Islam and the Ansar Law community, like the Honorable Elijah Muhammad had put on the front of Muhammad Speaks, when he showed brothers in bow ties on one side and brothers in white robes on the other side shaking hands, that me and the Minister Louis Farrakhan are starting to shake hands. And we are together going to raise the nation that the man we both love and respect, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, was trying to do. They're out seeking for a leader for the black man in America, and Honorable Elijah Muhammad was that leader. They just don't want to recognize him because white Arabs won't let them. And let me tell you what I feel about these pale Arabs. Like Minister Louis Farrakhan, I heard him in a speech, he is not concerned with white Arabs or scholars telling us who our leaders are, what we should educate our children with, how we should educate our children, when we should educate. 40 years ago, or way back in 1930, when the Nation of Islam was being born, pale Arabs were still living in the desert bush and was ignorant of their own teachings, while teachings about the original black man, being the Asiatic black man, maker, owner, and cream of the planet Earth, was being taught to the lost found in America. Now, if I sound like I'm in the Nation of Islam, I was never a follower as a student enrolled in the Nation of Islam, like many Sunni Muslims fabricate. But I would be honored to follow a man as great as the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, after having traveled the Muslim world extensively and see how Muslims in Egypt, Sudan, and all other parts of the world can't unite blacks in their own countries. Right in Sudan, there's many different black tribes, and the only one that could unite them was Muhammad Ahmed al-Mahdi, alayhi salam. After him, all kind of confusion. So for a man to be able to unite black men from all walks of life under one banner, he is a great man. And that great man is the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. And if Minister Louis Farrakhan is walking in the footsteps of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, then I am going to respect him. And I won't turn against or betray my brother, Minister Louis Farrakhan, for any Arab coming from Saudi, Pakistan, or any place else. Because blood is thicker than water. Savior's Day, I won't be out there physically, but I will be out there spiritually. And the day will come when me and Minister Louis Farrakhan will sit down for you people physically, not to debate, not to verse each other. The only thing you just do is shake and embrace in the name of Allah, the one creator. And as the leaders of two great tribes who were of one family, Abraham, you see love, unity, or as Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, will be working together for freedom, justice, and equality in order to have love, peace, and happiness. And I will do all I can to help the Minister Louis Farrakhan in his program, and I would hope that he would do all he can to help me in my program, and together our children will be one nation.
What do you think about Wallace D. Muhammad as a leader of the Nation of Islam?
I don't think that Wallace D. Muhammad was ever supposed to be the leader of the Nation of Islam. He didn't have the fire. He didn't have the water. He didn't even have the air to create the elements necessary to have a second resurrection. When Jesus the Messiah spoke about a second resurrection, he spoke about bringing a Lazarus who was dead back to life. And Honorable Elijah Muhammad oftentimes referred to the nation of black people in America as Lazarus, and that they were mentally dead. But when Wallace D. Muhammad took leadership, the Nation of Islam wasn't by far in a dead state. They was well awoke and well aware of who they are and who the devil is and what their goals and purposes were supposed to be. They didn't need somebody to come along and take the women out of their long dresses and take the men out of their FOI uniforms and strip the discipline and sell them over to pale Arabs for a small price. They didn't need this. So I feel that Wallace D. Muhammad is an intelligent young man in his own way and could have a lot to offer if he would comply with the teachings of his father and work under Minister Louis Farrakhan to try to bring that nation that he is partially responsible for making dormant back to life.
Why do you teach racism?
It's very funny, and Honorable Elijah Muhammad used to say this also. Just because we teach the truth, we're teaching racism. When the white man teaches you a bunch of lies about who discovered America and how you was an African naked, never told you about the great kingdoms and how you civilized the world, he calls that history when he makes you get an inferiority complex. But the moment we start to point out how you're the original Asiatic black man, when I say Asiatic black man, I mean you were once in Asia under the prophet Noah, and in your family Noah moved into Africa, his sons Mizraim, his son Cush, his son Ham, and his son Shem, which is the Semitic, the Hamitic, the Cushites, or Nubians, moved into Africa. So while they were in Asia, they were called Asiatics. When they moved into Africa, they were not referred to as Africans. They were referred to as Nubians, Cushites, Hamitic, and Semitic people. So when Elijah Muhammad said we were the Asiatic black man and woman, he was talking about when, after the flood of Noah, and Noah's family repopulated the earth, and then the white man came into existence. Now, Wallace D. Muhammad is as racist as y'all are claiming me and Minister Louis Farrakhan are, because he referred to his nation originally as Bilalians. And Bilal, as the so-called Arabs keep reminding y'all, was a black Habeshian or Ethiopian. We know that he was of the tribe of Judah. He passed the scepter on to the comforter Muhammad of Arabia. But they make it look like he was just a black man amongst all these pale Arabs. So when Wallace D. Muhammad reaches into this barrel of what the white man has taught him was all white Arabs and pulls out the one black man that they try to make you think was the only black man there, Bilal, because I like to make the point clear right now that the Prophet Muhammad was also black of Sudanese descendancy, and so was his uncle Al-Abbas, of course, and so was Ali, Amir al-Mu'mineen, and Abu Bakr Sadiq, and them were red Arabs, but they make you think Bilal was black. So if he pulls out this name and identifies his nation as Bilalians, that is a racial statement, because he's saying that they are the Blackians. So don't be fooled into thinking that Wallace D. Muhammad is not a racist, and Imam Isa and Minister Louis Farrakhan, who both listen to the teaching of Honorable Elijah Muhammad, are racist, because Wallace D. Muhammad, by virtue of the fact that he referred to himself as Bilalian, that is a racist statement. And if he can fool the Arabs, he can't fool us who know. You can't fool a Muslim, not nowadays.
Do you think that is a good